If this is the future of black manhood, then the black race is basically done. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes, Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. I was on Facebook on Sunday promoting my books on the SJS Direct imprint when I came across a picture of Offset and Pharell. And the picture of Offset and Pharell sitting together in Paris basically made me shake my head. And I had to shake my head because we have yet another image of black men that shows how black masculinity has fallen into an abyss. Now, both of these males don't really understand that they have basically been emasculated in this image, where you have Offset sitting here wearing what looks like to be a pair of women's sunglasses and a scarf on his head, looking like a female. And then you've got Pharell, who's sitting up here in some sort of suit and a skirt and holding a woman's purse. Now, this is another image in white supremacy's ongoing campaign to effeminize the black man and socially engineer the idea that being effeminate is a socially acceptable trait for a black man. And this is something that Hollywood and white supremacy have been doing for the last 30 years as they've been promoting their images of black men. And in those images of black men, they have made every effort to strip black men of their manhood and their masculinity as those men look to try to elevate themselves in Hollywood's social circles. And this image of Pharrell and Offset is yet another image that shows two more celebrities who have compromised their manhood and masculinity and their intangibles of manhood to further climb up the Hollywood ladder like many celebrities before them. Because it seems like every time a celebrity in Hollywood who is a black man wants to try to climb up the social ladder, what they do is sacrifice their dignity by going out here and getting themselves effeminized. Either they go out here and put themselves in a dress, makeup, heels, and a wig and pretend to be a woman, or they go out here and participate in effeminized behavior, and after they participate in this sort of humiliation ritual, what happens is that these men start to get some sort of push. And I don't know if that's what the covert contract is between Offset and Pharrell, but when I look at this image, I see two more black males, not black men, because any black man out here would not allow himself to be dressed in this kind of fashion or presenting himself with this type of effeminized body language, because they would understand that presenting yourself in such a fashion, what this does is make you appear to be weak, and it makes you look like a person who has been broken down to the point where you're looking to be a submissive as related to presenting your image out here. Because no man out here of character is going to allow himself to be photographed wearing a woman's scarf in the way a woman would, and no man is going to be sitting next to that other man wearing some sunglasses and a skirt and a purse. Again, any man out here would say, look, this is just disrespectful to me. It's disrespectful to black men as a collective to be presented like this. But when it comes to these black males who are a part of the entertainment industry, they have no sense of shame. One, because they have primarily been raised by these single mothers, and two, many of these black males don't understand what it means to be a man because they have not been raised by fathers who have modeled manhood for them or had older brothers to present an example of manhood for them like I had with my father and my brother. No, many of these men have been indoctrinated into Madison Avenue and Hollywood's ideals of black manhood, and they don't really understand that Hollywood and Madison Avenue are part of the media arm of white supremacy. And with Madison Avenue and Hollywood being a part of the media arm of white supremacy, they are not about elevating images of black manhood or black masculinity because they don't want to see black men taking their power as men, and because they don't want you to see black men taking their power as men, what they do is go out here and look for ways to minimize the image of black manhood and black masculinity, demonize the image of actual black manhood and black masculinity, and then promote these alternatives to black manhood and black masculinity that they deem acceptable. Passively but aggressively, they are designed to degrade the image of black men in the world of the social circle of men in general. Because when other men see a man dressed up, looking effeminate and looking effeminized with feminine body language like is presented in this photo, men look at that man as somebody they do not need to respect or regard. Moreover, the women in a community, when they look at men like this, they see nothing more than a soft, effeminate person they can go out here and push over. They don't see a strong man who is looking to lead his community or set a tone or direction in his community. No, they see a person who they can easily manipulate and get control over. Because when I look at these two males out here, I see the bitch in the relationship, and I see two guys who have basically been broken down to the point where they have no semblance of masculinity whatsoever, because any man with any semblance of dignity would not allow himself to even be dressed like this, much less be photographed and presented in such a humiliating fashion, because this image of manhood is not one that presents a strong image of manhood like what I featured on one of my covers of the John Haynes series, John Haynes Godbreaker, where some of these people got so upset that they were really literally voicing how uncomfortable they were with that image of a black man taking power by holding Thor's hammer. They got upset about that image of manhood and black masculinity, and sadly, that's why Godbreaker sadly was one of the slowest selling John Haynes books. But mainstream media will go out here and promote this kind of image of black manhood and black masculinity, and promote this image of black manhood and black masculinity because their goal is to socially engineer the effeminization of black men into black boys and young black men to believe that this is a natural trait of black masculinity when it never was a trait of natural black masculinity. No, this is another image that is designed to socially engineer dysfunction among black men to believe that you have to sacrifice your natural manhood and natural masculinity and put yourself in the place of a woman. But when a man places himself in the place of a woman, he is sending a message to the world that he is no man that anybody needs to respect. And that's what I see when I see two black men sitting up here looking like a pair of women. I see an image of black manhood that makes me shake my head regarding the future of black manhood and black masculinity, because we've got two black men looking like Laverne and Shirley, looking like a pair of women, looking extra weak, extra soft. And again, this is the type of image they want you to see of black men, because you won't see any other race of men presented like this. You will not see Asian men presented like this. You will definitely not see any Arab men presented like this, because they will stand up for their dignity. And you won't see any Latino or white men dressed up like this. No, the only men you see presented like this in modern mainstream media are heterosexual black men. And that's a shame, because again, even alphabet black men don't even go this far. It's always the heterosexual black men presented like this in images, and it's always the heterosexual black men always being presented as feminized and presented in a subservient look. Again, I look at the body language of these two men, and I see them looking like women and acting like women, And again, people don't see how this reflects badly on the race of black men. I mean, this is just shows again how sad things are for black men as a collective, that you have black men who allow themselves to have their dignity degraded because they don't understand how important it is to stand up and look like a man. Again, they don't understand what masculinity is and why it's important to be masculine. We don't see any pride in black manhood or black masculinity anymore, and that really saddens me because a lot of black boys and black men, they get bombarded with these images as little boys and young men, and they think that this is the ideal, when the reality is that there's a whole different picture of black manhood outside of Hollywood, and that's what I try to present in books like the John Haynes series and my other books in the SJS Direct imprint. I try to show you a balanced image of black manhood, of black men being strong, black men being powerful, because I understand what Hollywood is and Madison Avenue are trying to do. Again, they're trying to strip you of your manhood, trying to strip you of your dignity, trying to strip you of any sort of self-worth, and make you believe that in order to gain white validation and white approval, you have to sacrifice these things, when your intangibles of manhood have higher value than any sort of acceptance from any group. Because it's a sad existence to be like this, like these type, like Offset and Pharrell. Because if this is the picture of black manhood, then black men, sadly, you are in a bad place, because you're in a place where you basically are seen as a joke. Because when you have men presented like this, they are presented as a laughingstock. And again, this picture is a form of humiliation, because no black man who had any sort of self-esteem or self-worth would allow himself to be presented in a fashion as embarrassing as this. Now, if you want this picture to see a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity, you can pick up books in the John Haynes series, such as John Haynes' Godbreaker, John Haynes at Death's Door, John Haynes' The Man with Nothing to Lose, John Haynes' Taking Care of Business, John Haynes' Dark Succubus, and John Haynes' A Conversation with Death, and The Man Who Rules the World and the Temptation of John Haynes. You can find all of these books which present a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashworth, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me be able to make more videos that help men and talk about men's issues and create more positive images of black manhood and black masculinity, like the John Haynes series, you can send a donation to the PayPal, the Patreon, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.